I don't want to overstate the case here, but like I have to say the past few years have really been testing my democratic beliefs, my general disposition towards the, you know, the importance and value of democracy. It's very valuable in the abstract, but the relationship between democracy and capitalism is a rough one. You know, it almost feels like you can't actually. So this is a common socialist sentiment, right? You can't have democracy with capitalism because capitalism leads to such an inequitable distribution of resources that the people with the resources can simply buy the consent of the people beneath them through media or, you know, handouts, incentives, whatever else. And that is certainly true. But it also makes me wonder, like, to what extent in capitalism, what can you do to push against that, right? And I'm not talking about any like revolutionary LARP, you know, proletarian state vanguard, etc., etc. It's more like, dude, the disconnect between what is good for people and what they vote for is so insanely wide. Like, holy shit. Yeah, you have to drag people kicking and screaming. This is the frustrating thing, man, okay? It feels like if you're a fascist, you can just get people to happily walk to their own demise. But if you're a socialist, or if you want anything good, you have to drag people kicking and screaming to the things that objectively benefit them. Damn! Are they worth fighting for? Of course! Being a retard doesn't mean that you don't deserve human rights. You're retarded. I might have been retarded under a very specific set of circumstances that didn't even come close to happening. You, well, maybe it was easier from the start. It's not about whether or not they deserve it. It's just like, Jesus, you know? Like with Mamdani, you know, it's just such a, because the wonk argument against Mamdani is like, well, some of his policies are too over the top, they won't work. The average voter has no idea what anything is, what it means, what will or won't work. The average voter knows nothing except for name recognition and who got the, you know, the shiny slogan. You know, it's an environment where the relationship between reality and outcome is so off, like so insanely. There's such a departure. It's like, Jesus. Is there any value in policy? Yeah, of course, you need to do policy. You know, you need to do things. It's not all, you know, aura and hype moments or whatever. I just, yeah, I don't know. I blame smartphones. Can it help if there's mandatory voting? Not really. I mean, I like mandatory voting in general, but that doesn't fix this problem, because if a person is stupid enough to not vote, like they weren't going to vote anyway unless they were kind of forced to, they're probably not smart enough to like necessarily vote for the right guy, right? Like, I like mandatory voting because it deals with the problem of disenfranchisement, you know? The Republican strategy of keeping millions and millions of people off the voter rolls or making it difficult for them to vote, it fixes that issue. It doesn't fix the issue that if a person is already not voting, they're probably not the sharpest tool in the shed. I mean, again, not to say Kamala was exactly offering the New Deal 2.0 or anything, but like this, it was a pretty obvious election. What people have to understand is that the amount of money that AIPAC gives a candidate is actually not really indicative of that much. If AIPAC has given any real amount of money to a candidate, it probably means that candidate is on AIPAC's side, but that doesn't actually represent their power. AIPAC spends relatively little. You know, you see people who are bought by like, what, 1-2 million? A US senator is like, so much more money flows through them than a couple million from AIPAC. Nothing, really. You know, it's a rounding error. That's just the stuff that shows. Cost of parking is already crazy. Like, how is this economy forcing me to pay for gas to maintain a vehicle? Now you're going to squeeze me for money too? Dude, street parking is, especially in commercial areas, is city subsidized housing for your car. Like, they're literally, like, alongside the sidewalk that gets to be used for free by anyone who wants to walk down it, and the road which being driven for free, the parking that you pay for. Like, our cities could be so much nicer if we didn't give so much space, heavily subsidized space, out to car owners. This massive fucking a wall off from every major road that allows for street parking. They could just make the road narrower. They could save so much money. Yeah, except unless you're in Chicago. Also, traffic is so much worse for people like driving around trying to find street parking. Wasn't there a study that said something like more than 50% of the traffic in a given area at a certain point in time was caused by people driving around looking for like free street parking? That's fucking crazy. Makes it worse for everyone, you know? Imagine how much better traffic would be if people drove downtown and just like paid for the expensive lot or whatever, rather than trying to like run around looking for the free or much cheaper street parking. I don't know. Listen, I'm tired, okay? Been sleeping like shit. Got a fucking headache. Why'd my headache come back? 30%? 30%! Insane. Genuinely insane. Did you see a car attack hit Spain? All of Spain. Is this a car attack? Is this an attack? An 80-year-old drives a luxury Mercedes sedan down Rome's Spanish steps and gets stuck. Is this an attack? You called it an attack, right? Did you see a car attack hit Spain? You called it a car attack. Well, I suppose all uses of a car are an attack in the sense that they're an attack on our right to have good city infrastructure. And our clean air. That wasn't even Spain. Those were the Spanish stairs in Rome. So you're telling me the person who provided that link was a bot. Oh, speaking of the environment, have you guys been following any of the discourse about the big beautiful bill proposed sell-off of federal land? Everyone mad? I have not seen anyone defending it except Mike Lee. I saw your retweets of it. Well, good to know you're keeping, you know, appraised of the situation. You're on track. Oh, there it is. That's good. Actual attempt at terrorism in Europe, by the way. Masked men attack Brandenburg Diversity Festival. Police are investigating possible far-right involvement. Nah! Just a lone wolf. That guy was retarded. Okay, dial it back, dial it back. Be calm, be calm. Dude, I don't know. I am not into this shit right now. I must have gotten some wretched sleep. Jesus Christ. Straight up not having a good time. I'm fighting my head right now. I'm at war. You don't understand. I'm battling. Get some rest, man. Listen, I don't want to imply that it's because my job is hard. It is hard. It's the hardest, even. Whoa, hold on. And it's not because there's a lot to process today. Okay? Maybe for a guy such as yourself. No, it's just I could not sleep last night because of my headache. I was up way too late. I tried. I was laying there. But if I took any more pain meds last night, I was not doing my kidneys, my liver. Does acetaminophen hurt your kidneys or liver? Liver? Okay. I didn't want to do a disservice to my liver. Both? Okay. Do a sleep stream like Speed. Nah, I think I'll just read Donos. I think I'll read Donos. Just gotta get a good sleep tonight. The headaches seem to be kind of recurring. No. It's just a tension headache. Tension headaches. I get tips. Just get tension headaches.